Welcome to the October 26, 2022 special meeting of the Downtown Design Review Committee. My name is Gary Jones, and I'm the chair of the committee. The following guidelines are in place for meetings in the council chamber at City Hall. Only the south entrance to City Hall will be open for access to the building. For exiting the building, all exits can be used. Air purifying machines have been installed in the chamber. Hand sanitizer machines and disposable face masks will also be available. When called upon, applicants and speakers will come to the front podium to speak. Only one person at a time should come to the podium. Speak into the microphone. Please identify yourself when you begin speaking. Address your comments to the committee. Limit your comments to 3 minutes. Citizens may address the committee on the agenda item by responding to the chair's call for speakers during discussion on each item and signing the speaker's log on the podium. All comments must be relevant to the item. The chair or presiding officer may, in his or her discussion, prohibit a person from addressing the committee and/or remove that person from the council chambers. If that person commits any disorderly or disruptive behavior, please see the agenda for more information about these requirements. If you parked in the Sheridan Walker parking garage north of the John Rex Elementary School or in the Arts District parking garage south of City Hall, staff can provide a parking validation ticket to you. The agenda and the documents are located at https://okc.primegov.com/public/portal. You will then select the Downtown Design Review Committee meeting, then click on an agenda item, and the relevant documents will come up below the items. Desiree, will you please call the roll?
Committee Member Jones.
Here.
Committee Member Brannon.
Here.
Committee Member Blatt.
Here.
Committee Member Copeland. Committee Member Sarar.
Here.
Committee Member Trulio. Chair, we have quorum.
Okay, seeing that we have a quorum on the agenda, the first thing is approval of the minutes from the September 15 minutes.
This is a request, whoever's going to make the motion, verbalize it, then hit the button for the motion, and then the second, do the same, verbalize, and then hit the button. We're hoping that will speed up PrimeGov.
Okay, I need a motion to approve the minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Mariana Sarura, motion. The second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please vote. Waiting for the second. Thank you. All right, seeing that the votes have been made, the motion passes. The next item on the agenda is cases withdrawn. We do not have any for this meeting. Continuance requests. We do not have any for this meeting. Consent docket. We have none for this meeting. Cases for individual consideration, we also have none for this meeting, which brings us to other business. On other business, we have CE 01081 at 1111 Classen Drive. Staff?
Thank you. First, thank you all for being available for this special meeting since we didn't have a quorum last week. And thanks to the applicant for being available also to attend so that we could get this done so they're still on tomorrow's Planning Commission agenda. You recently had an item on your agenda for demolition of the old IMSA building, and at that time there was a discussion about a proposed project for that site and for the adjacent street. And so what you've got now is the easement closure application for that block of Classen Drive. That's between the traffic circle at Northwest 10th and the 3-road intersection that's up at Northwest 11th Street. So this runs between, adjacent to where the IMSA building was and the Plaza Court building. That's on the east side. I provided information about the plat, the fact that this street has always been like it is at an angle, and goes, originally, it was actually Classen Boulevard on the old plats. And I didn't realize that till I started digging in it. And then at some point, Classen Boulevard became what it is today, and this became Classen Drive. So You have the restaurants, a lot of retail, and the biggest user in this area is St. Anthony's. We were advised by the applicant that they had spoken to St. Anthony's. They'll probably, I'm assuming, mention that in their presentation, as well as some other property owners in this area to let them know what they were doing. So what we included in the staff report was various sections of the guidelines. We don't have any regulation against this. There's guidelines about basically being flexible for development, which is what they're wanting to do. They want to create a pedestrian plaza in this area, which definitely widens a 5-foot sidewalk to a very large one, allows for large groups of people and for different types of events to occur. They indicated that they, and let me find where that was, some of the changes that they're going to have to make to the existing area deals with access to the parking lot at Plaza Court. Currently, there's 3. And they'd be making, the entrance would be from the north. They would close off the drive that is the furthest north to 11th, that's on Classen Drive. And then the exit would be down toward the traffic circle. And they would be changing the traffic pattern so that it is one way from north to south. They would be allowing emergency access into the plaza area, but prohibit public access into the plaza area. They would have to put easements for both pedestrian as well as bicycle access, because there is a proposed bike lane that's supposed to be going up Classen Drive. So there would be a reduction in parking spaces. There's currently some on-street parking spaces that would be eliminated. Plaza Court parking lot would be reduced. If I counted right, it looks like there's 47 spaces now, and that's going to be dramatically less than that. But as you know, we don't require parking in the downtown design district. The usability of that 3-street intersection up at 11th should be made better by removing one of the 6 spokes. Plus, you also have the streetcar that goes through that intersection. So that's an interesting intersection if you've ever gone through it, trying to figure out which road you need to go on if you're needing to turn. So the proposed project on IMSA, when they showed it to you before, they were showing they were going to have a surface parking lot. So they're anticipating providing some parking on their site. So removal of on-street parking shouldn't cause an issue. The one thing I'll point out, which is kind of interesting, is design review is from the curb inward. We have no authority curb to curb. But if the road goes away and becomes vacated, then it becomes private property, then you have design review authority. So this would actually be adding in some area that you normally wouldn't be able to comment on a project. So the applicant provided some traffic counts for Public Works because they wanted to be assured that there wouldn't be a problem. And the traffic counts were low, and they said all surrounding streets have capacity to handle the diverted traffic. So at the traffic circle, if you're on Walker, you would just kind of go over a quarter of the traffic circle, continue north on Walker, and then you can turn on 11th and get back on Classen Drive to go north, or you could go all the way to 13th and head west that way. So staff is recommending approval of this with conditions that the property owner will be responsible for providing easements for pedestrian and bicycle access and for utilities, because obviously there's at least water in the street. And I looked up there now, and I don't even have the ability to look at the pictures, to click on them. Oh, sorry, I know what, hang on a minute. This would have helped if I had this up when we were talking. So you're probably familiar with the Plaza Court building that has been there for quite some time, which is on the right of the yellow, and to the left of the yellow is where the IMSA building used to be. And then this is just an overall view, so you can see all of the roads that are out there, the other options people have for getting around in that area, both north, south, and east, west. And it's kind of ironic, because the day that we went out to take pictures, it was early, so there weren't a lot of people parked on the street. But when we went down and we were standing in the traffic circle just to start taking pictures, all of a sudden, it's like somebody opened a gate and all these cars started coming in and going up that section of Classen Drive, which I thought was kind of interesting. But this is looking north. The dirt on the left is where the IMSA building used to be. So the road on that area on the right is where they're proposing to close it. So, and I'm just kind of scrolling. So if you have any questions about this, this is when people just started coming, and maybe they were going to work, I don't know. We happened to be there just at the right time, so I thought that was kind of ironic. And then this is the intersection with 6 spokes. Up there on the right is Neighborhood Jam. I don't have my glasses on, I think. If you've ever been there on a Sunday, there's a lot of people. That is the place to go. So if you're ever out and looking for a place to eat breakfast, that obviously must be the place to go on Sundays. So does anybody have any questions? Okay, let me go back to...
Seeing as there are no questions for staff, would you like to present?
Yes.
Thank you.
We'll keep it brief. David Box, 522 Colcord Drive. We've got a host of different folks here, some that are representing the development to the northeast, the Plaza Court, and then some that are representing the development that was the former IMSA building. So when we filed this application, the first thing we did was we went and met with planning staff, but also Public Works. So we met with Director Winger because we wanted to understand from a traffic and infrastructure standpoint whether or not he or his department would have a problem, because if he did, we would need to flush it out immediately. What we found was he didn't have a problem subject to the traffic counts being low. We believed that they would be low, but Johnson Associates did a traffic study and revealed that the traffic counts were low. So when we think about street closures, the thing that we always think about is what will the impact be to the traveling public? So this image is reflective of what the street network would look like in the after. Because Classen Drive is this unique street that bisects the block at an angle, the entire grid pattern is still intact. So if one was coming from the north to go south, their ability to do so still exists in multiple ways. Just like if they were coming from the south and going north, their ability is still there. Frankly, Walker serves as kind of the main artery going from south to north and north to south. But if one wanted to go over here, of course, 11th Street, 10th Street still exists, still open. We don't believe that there will be an impact to traffic, but if we think about what I think the goals of the downtown framework and the regulations that exist for this body to consider, it is what are we trying to make downtown? We're trying to make downtown a place that is walkable, pedestrian-oriented, not a great place for cars. At least that's what I kind of view downtowns out as. And so what we're proposing is just that, is to make this a usable, walkable, kind of pedestrian street. And as staff mentioned, we will have to come back before you to get a CA on anything within that pedestrian plaza. We anticipate that it will be something that is decorative, something that is non-street-like, so that it's more on the pedestrian type of scale. So with that, we think this provides a wonderful opportunity for this to become kind of the heart of Midtown. Right now, there's really no defined area that would be considered the heart of Midtown. The other design districts kind of have that. Bricktown has the canal. This would provide the ability to do that, where there would be a unified place that was the heart of Midtown. Staff, through the staff report for Planning Commission, which is tomorrow, asked that we provide a 20-foot easement for bike and pedestrian that mirrors the alignment of Classen Drive now. We agree to that. So with that, we think what we've done is taken what is a vehicular corridor and turned it into a pedestrian corridor, and perhaps the best spot you could have that right in the middle of Midtown. So the only negative that I could see here would be the vehicular piece of it, and based upon the street network that exists all around this, we don't believe that it's going to create any problem. So, like I said, I've got folks from the design of both sides of the street, as well as Mark Zitzow with Johnson Associates, and we'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Are there any questions for the applicant? Seeing as there are none,
Thank you.
and are there any guests or anyone else that would like to speak to this application? Seeing as there are none, we are open to a motion.
And just as a reminder, at a minimum, staff requests that you at least include our recommended condition, and when you voice your motion, please hit the motion button, and if you second, then hit the second button, please. Thank you.
I'll make a motion for a recommendation of approval to the Planning Commission for the request to close the right-of-way for Classen Drive from Northwest 11th Street to Northwest 10th Street with the condition that the property owner will be responsible for providing easements for pedestrian and bicycle access and for utilities.
Mariana Sarur, the second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes. Thank you. Thank you. We have another item on other business. We have CE 01085 at 626 West Reno Avenue. Okay. Moving pretty fast here.
You know how to clear a room. So the unique thing about this site is that the eastern portion of this block was never platted. So because it was never platted, there was never a dedicated, usually 20-foot alley. It's just a meets and bounds area. So that means that the alley that was platted on the western two-thirds can't go through unless somebody was willing to buy the property, put all of that in. So it's an alley that goes nowhere. And there used to be, I think it was a furniture building that was on, I think that was one of the first things, one of my first applications was a demo of that building in 2015 or 2016. So this is looking east at the alley area. And on the right is the parking lot for Ozarka. And so the applicant is property owner on the north, which is on the left. Ozarka has also agreed to this. Sorry, I didn't know if we need to close the doors because they're talking. And then this is looking westward across the street toward the alley that's on the other block, but that can't go anywhere anymore because of the boulevard, because the boulevard comes up at an angle. So we have some alleys that have been, alleys and streets that have been impacted by the boulevard. On the right is the Angry Scotsman, if that gives you a location. This is actually, it's probably one of the simplest one I had because there's no way for it to go through. And it's illogical to make somebody keep an alley that can't go anywhere because there's nowhere to turn around. And the vehicles you want to use the alley is the garbage truck and the delivery trucks, and those are not the ones you want to have to back out onto the street. There are utilities There's overhead electric, there's sewer in there. And the applicant has said that they're not planning on relocating those. They're planning on leaving them in. So they don't want to build over it. But they know up front our concern about back-of-house uses. They really can't provide them here because of the access. And they're working on a design for their project that would provide the back-of-house uses in a way that we're all going to be very happy with. Yes. So staff recommends, is making a recommendation of approval to recommend that you make a recommendation of approval to the Planning Commission for this request.
Any questions for staff? Seeing as there are none, would the applicant like to make a comment?
Sure, Mark Zitzow with Johnson & Associates, 1 East Sheridan Avenue. I think Laura did a great summary. The boulevard through here, I think, really changed some things. There have been multiple closures in this area because of it. I think the main unique piece of this is that a portion of the block has never been platted. And with Oklahoma City's current subdivision regulations, if it comes in as commercial, it's not going to be required to be platted. So the opportunity to even request that alley seems unlikely in the future. So we've committed as part of this project that at some point it'll come back before. We understand the need to keep the back of house exactly where it's intended, which is in the back. There's no intention to relocate the overhead electric or the sewer. It is hopeful that a resolution can come out that we can at least bury it, the overhead electric, and that allows the parking lot to shift further back to keep any parking off of Reno. So that's the goal and the intent here. So I'd be happy to answer any other questions, but we would ask for your recommendation onto Planning Commission to approve the application.
Are there any questions of the applicant? Seeing as there are no questions of the applicant, we will entertain a motion.
I recommend a motion to provide a recommendation of approval to the Planning Commission for the request to close the right-of-way for the east-west alleyway located south of West Reno Avenue, located between South Lee and Dewey Avenue.
Is there a second?
Rosy Trujillo, I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Got it? There you go. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Under other business, we have a schedule for 2023. Staff?
Hi, I provided you a copy of one. We had already sent this to the city clerk. I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. But it's the normal third Thursday of the month, just like we always meet. And we did add some verbiage to the schedule on the bottom. We have a new statement down at the bottom, and the reason is because we were having trouble with, they would submit it on the deadline, but they wouldn't pay for it, and we don't review them until they've been paid for. And so then you'd have somebody who waits 2 or 3 weeks to pay for it, and then we're already working on the agenda packet. We don't have time to even review it, get comments back and forth, and get a staff report done. Or they don't resubmit in a timely manner when we've made comments. And so because of that, we wanted to be maybe clearer. We include this type of verbiage in our emails as well, but that is the only change that we've made. So it's the standard format that you've seen before.
Okay. Are there any questions of staff concerning the proposed schedule for 2023? Seeing as there are none, we are open to a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2023 calendar year schedule.
Second?
Rosy Trujillo, I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote.
And I even 3-hole punched.
Saw that. Thank you. Motion passes. Moving back to the agenda. Got communications, administrator of approval report. Any questions, comments? Seeing as there are none, we'll move to
Oh, sorry. I had a comment, had a question more so. How do we get more committee members on here? Is there something that we need to do from a, Is this something that we need to do from?
I'm gonna let Katie speak to that one.
So we don't have to have a special.
Sure. So you all are nominated by the mayor and appointed by council. We do know that there are people who have applied to serve on the committee, people who meet the qualifications to serve. By all means, anytime you come across someone that you think would be a good fit for the committee, encourage them to reach out to us and to apply. But you are also welcome to let leadership know, hey, I need some more friends on the committee with me. So, yeah, that's really all there is to it. It's just there are so many commissions and committees and boards to constantly keep, fully occupied, to keep staffed up and with all their representatives. So I think it's just a workload issue.
Make a push towards the mayor's office.
That would be appropriate.
I'm sure the mayor would appreciate your email indicating we'd love to have additional appointees to our committee.
Done.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
You, Justin.
And the other thing to keep in mind is if somebody has term limited out, they only have to be off for a year and then they can come back on.
Okay. Next, comments from planning department staff. Do you have any additional comments?
You will be hearing from me the beginning of next week on an early quorum call. We have a meeting next month. So please check your calendars. Please respond to quorum calls so I can, so if we need a special meeting, I can quickly get one done like we were able to get this one done so quick, so.
All right. Any additional comments from any committee members? Seeing as there are none, the next regular committee meeting is Thursday, November the 17th. Without any further ado, we are adjourned.
Thank you, everybody.